Hey guys, before we start the episode, I just want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Audible.com. You know me, I love print media, but audiobooks are pretty awesome. And if you agree with me about audiobooks being awesome and want to help out the channel, you can go to this link, audibletrial.com/BlackScarabFilmZ to get a 30-day free trial and one free audiobook. My personal recommendation this month is I Must Say, My Life as a Humble Comedy Legend, written and read by Martin Short. Even if you aren't a fan of Short, I guarantee that you'll love this audiobook, because when I started listening to it, I wasn't a fan of Martin Short either, and now he's one of my favorite actors of all time. But if that's not your taste, there are thousands of other audiobooks on Audible, so I'm sure that you'll find something that you like. Good luck, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome to the Literary Lair. Very soon, all new episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000 are coming to Netflix, and I can't be more excited. And that's got me thinking, I haven't really done anything MST3K related on this show that I care to talk about. And aside from talking about the movie, I haven't talked about the television version of MST3K in my videos, and I want that to change. And since the Netflix premiere is this week, it's the perfect time to talk about Mystery Science Theater. But where to start? Well, while the episodes are good and the movies are good, I think it's more fun to talk about the host segments from throughout the show's run, cause that gives a varied and interesting account of the show even to non-fans. I could do favorite episodes or shorts, but even after having been a fan for almost 5 years, I still haven't seen every episode. Though thanks to compilations and the like, I have seen a good amount, if not all, of the host segments. Now, I will impose one rule, and that's no songs. Why, they deserve their own list, because I have enough favorites of those to fill several other videos, and I don't want to have to split my votes. If I don't, this would be mostly songs anyway. And before we start, I want to stress that these are my own personal favorites, so I might leave out some that you guys like that I might not like as much. This is my list, and so is based on my personal preference and opinion. So let's go to the not-too-distant future and look at my top 15 Mystery Science Theater 3000 host segments. We've got Movie Sign!
By the way, what show are we seeing? I thought we were going to a movie.
We are.
And a show?
No!
Then why did you say we're going to a show?
Because we are!
I have no idea why I love this, but it's so simple and such a funny scene. The idea of the miscommunication due to the speech patterns is hilarious, and the way that they interact is funny, along with Mike's justification for doing it. That it's the only thing he can do with the bots is a funny contrast to Joel's earlier reprogramming of the bots to be extremely complimentary to him. It's just one of those host segments that doesn't really have bearing on anything, but it makes me laugh, and it's one of the host segments that will just come to my mind randomly and make me crack up, no matter what. It's even better that it's at the start of one of the funniest episodes, Last of the Wild Horses, which is the one where they parody Star Trek's Mirror Universe. And while the other host segments from this episode, especially the Joey the Lemur segment, are great, this is the host segment that I always come back to when I need a laugh.
Then you take the pie pan and put it around your neck, and you go as Jiffy Pop Popcorn. What do you think, sirs?
Similarly to the last one, I like this one because it makes me laugh, although I know why I love this one. 2 lines in this that make me crack up no matter what whenever I watch this episode. And here they are.
If you're like me, and I know I am, and see, you go as a missing child.
Have you seen me?
I just cannot laugh at the way that Joel and Kevin deliver those lines. There's just something about their cadences that make me unable to not immediately lose my composure. Plus, they're actually pretty creative costumes, though they'd need to dump a cup of soda onto Crow's head to make him really resemble the floor of any movie theater I've ever been to. Plus, Dr. Forrester's and Frank's costumes are great too, and I love how Frank goes straight into the mimicking of Reading Rainbow after donning his Geordie LaForge air filter costume. It's highly quotable, and plus, it has a 3 for LeVar Burton reference, and since it references both Reading Rainbow and Star Trek, I just have to love it. It's just a shame that it's in an episode that can't be officially released on DVD due to legal issues with Toho.
Okay, listen up, everyone. Our film execs, Pearl and Clay, thought it might be a good idea to use a small 45% of the budget and take a shuttlecraft up here and have a little script confab.
A one-page script? Can't we handle it by phone?
A button it,
This
meat
isn't
puppet.
one host segment, it's actually several. So, Season 7 was filmed following the filming of the movie, which was screwed over by the studio at several points during development, which I briefly touched upon during my review of the movie in the first episode of How to Fix It. And the cast and crew of MST3K were not happy with it. So they dedicated almost an entire episode of host segments to making fun of the many problems they had while making the movie in The Incredible Melting Man. Crow's screenplay, Earth vs. Soup, which he had written back in Earth vs. the Spider in Season 3, is optioned for a movie, and the studio is Dr. Forrester and Pearl, who take 90% of the movie's budget for themselves and undermine Crow's vision at every point. Just like what happened with the MST3K movie. It's especially funny when, if you're like me and researched very heavily into the production of the movie, and know the root of where all the jokes came from. Although, this set of segments prove that something good did come from Gramercy's botching of the movie, so I guess it wasn't all that bad. I still can't believe that Gramercy thought that barbed wire was the horse to back in that race, though.
Hell! Hey, Mike, you hit something. It's the Hubble! You killed the Hubble!
Speaking of MST3K the movie, despite its botched production, it had a lot of really good host segments, and picking just one for this list was tough, but I think out of all of them, this is the one that everyone remembers. It's just a good thing that Mike got better at driving the Satellite of Love after they came back from the edge of the universe. It's also one that really gives Gypsy a good quip with her,
No way! This is your dishwashing liquid! You soak in it!
Plus, Tom and Crow's dialogue as they watch Mike delicately use the manipulator arm to remove the Hubble is gold. The best part might be that the manipulator arm is called Manos, which of course means that the hands on the manipulator arm are very fateful. The movie might have lost the intro and TV's Frank, which made it feel like a different show, but the host segments, especially this one, made it feel like a regular episode of the show, and a really good one at that. Though the opening scene with Crow digging a hole through the bottom of the satellite is a good one, it can't beat the Hubble. Although the Satellite of Love apparently can.
You caught us in the middle of one of Joel's life simulation exercises. Joel's pretending to be a dairy farmer from southern Wisconsin. Help us!
This is another one that has nothing to do with the movie they riffed, but it's just funny. Joel's run had a lot of just domestic-style segments, and this is one of my favorites. Joel's farmer impression combined with the fact that Servo makes it clear that the bots are not willing participants just makes this host segment even funnier. Though my favorite bit has to be Dr. Forrester and Frank's reaction to it.
Old Joel Robinson had a farm?
I don't think so.
Though part of the hilarity is seeing Joel's sadistic streak come out, with him chopping off Servo's head and cow-tipping Gypsy. Considering how much the bots screwed with Mike in later seasons, part of me thinks that this kind of stuff had something to do with that, revenge on the meatbags, as it were. I like this one because of how relatable it is. It starts with Mike just wanting to be alone and relax for a little bit with some good music and tea, and naturally the bots wreck it by using the escape pods to have a dogfight. Escape pods that they could have used to get back to Earth. I also have to give a great deal of credit to Kevin and Bill, since they managed to get across all the emotion and vocalizations that they usually have with the puppets, and managed to get that into the audio from the radios. I mean, I know that they're just in front of mics, but I believe that it's the bots in front of the mics, and not just them. I also love the effort that went into making the half-destroyed bot models. The best brains, and most likely Jeff Maynard as prop master, really outdid themselves on those, and these bots are probably my favorite variants.
Churchillian determination.
No surprise!
Another quotable one. While I haven't gotten to use it, mainly since I don't look at movie footage that much as part of the review, since I focus on the story, it's still a good reaction clip for when the actors just don't emote. Speaking of emoting, and how much I don't, I'm sure some people use that reaction clip when talking about this show. Overall, I like it mainly for the part in the beginning with the bots shouting Mike's name. Partly because since my name is Mike, I can pretend they're shouting at me. Speaking of which, that would make a really good ringtone.
It's that old AMC crow that Gypsy's been tinkering with for years.
Hey guys, are there things that are happening?
I love it when the host segments play with common occurrences and merge them with the insanity of MST3K. Like this one, for example, which features a loner crow, much like a loner car, and while it's a simple one, it never fails to amuse me with loner crow's dialogue, which reminds me a lot of their stilted fakey dialogue from the Hobgoblin song Cardboard Cutouts. This one is sold by the effects and the puppeteering. I know that it's just another crow puppet, but I could believe that it's another crow with a distinct personality and mannerisms. Sometimes it's the simple things that get you.
So at you two, Mr. Gypsy status report.
Sir, the ship has been trapped in the gravity well the black hole is presently plummeting towards the singularity.
As a Star Trek fan, this was bound to be on the list somewhere. Though it's not a top 5 one, mainly because I think SF Debris does a much better Janeway impression. But Mike Nelson doesn't do that bad, and he commits to the role and dresses the part, unlike SF Debris. The episode has a lot of Star Trek references, since Laser Blast used TOS sound effects, and another host segment had a parody of the Nomad probe, but Janeway always wins. Even when she loses, Janeway always wins. I think my favorite part about it is that it would have been easy to do a Shatner impression or a Picard joke, but they took the time and effort to do a Voyager reference, and they even got the correct costume, unlike other parodies. Even if the comm badge makes it technically inaccurate, since that's a Next Generation early Deep Space Nine comm badge and not a Voyager one, but those are semantics and only very astute Trek fans are going to care. I'm impressed that they did a Voyager parody because no one bothers to do those, and I feel like there's an untapped parody market. Everyone's done a Kirk and Spock parody. I don't see anyone trying to do a parody of Tuvok or Poor Dumb Harry.
Gypsy, I don't know what... Is it that I often panic while making sandwiches?
Yeah, well, maybe it's that kind of thing.
This is a classic and probably tops some lists, but I like my top 5 slightly more. This is a sketch that I basically have committed to memory and could recite for you on command, from the hum diddy hee hee, hooah hooah, straight to the nobody gets me, I'm the wind, baby. It's one of those segments where it's very disconnected from the movie, mainly because the movie that week was Monster A Go-Go, and many good sketches came from this episode, and this is one of the most fondly remembered. Trace and Jim voice and puppeteer this brilliantly, and despite the fact that we know the bots are puppets, they feel the most real in this segment, as Gypsy tries to figure out what she doesn't get about Crow. It's also one that I quote constantly, and so it's always on the forefront of my mind.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Satellite of Love.
Here we come, a wassailing, etc., etc.
Give us our wassail, if you please, sir.
Wassail? I'm pretty sure I'm fresh out of wassail.
I know I said no songs, but I was referring to the specifically made songs from the Best Brains, like Patrick Swayze Christmas and Where a Werewolf. And with this being an actual real-world song, it's exempt from that rule. Here We Come a Wassailing is one of my favorite holiday songs because it's so damn catchy. And Tom and Crow's regaling of the rules of wassail are funny, especially the relinquishing debit card and PIN number tradition that goes back centuries. I always like the ones where Tom and Crow mess with Mike, and this is one that's not only funny, but festive once a year. Plus, it, along with the Harvey Fine-Voice Christmas album, has led to that song getting stuck in my head constantly. And since I've talked about it, it's gonna be stuck in my head for weeks now. Great.
And I tried a savage feral roar, but alas, my force was spent and I died. And then Servo took it too far.
Most of the best host segments are ones that work as monologues. I mean, if I was ever going to audition using a monologue, short of using a Doctor Who epic speech or that audition bit from Mr. Show, this one is a close contender for a good one. I mean, just Bill's conviction while speaking as Crow as a bear, and Servo's growling makes it one of the best sketches, and one of Bill Corbett's best moments as Crow, though he does have several. He really gets into it, and I honestly empathize with the poor bear that was mauled by that wild dog. Honestly, while I love Trace Beaulieu's Crow, and he is the best Crow there ever was, this is the host segment that made me fall in love with Bill Corbett's version. For reference, I watched the show out of order, so Prince of Space was one of the first Sci-Fi era episodes I watched, since it's one of the classics of that era and it's on everyone's list, so this is one that I remember most fondly.
You people bring matches for Mikey?
You shut up, Mikey, you shut up! You folks don't give no matches to Mikey, you hear me? You hear me? I don't care what Mikey say or Mikey do. Don't give him no matches. I don't care if Mikey can crawl in through your window.
For most people, this is the number one favorite, but I like my top two a little more than this one. But that doesn't mean I don't like it. This is one of their funniest displays. From Tom's accent to Mike's stare and Crow's llama noises, this is one of their most surreal yet most brilliant host segments ever. Just the fact that we get a solid minute of just the camera focusing on the three of them, and Mike's rough movements and Crow's agonized noises and Servo's rising anger. I have no idea why this is so funny, but it's just funny. There are just some host segments that are inherently funny, and this is one of them and one of the most classic. You people bring matches for Mikey?
Joel?
Yeah.
The Pina Colada song.
Yeah.
Well, could you phrase it in the form of a question?
Okay, Joel. What's the deal with the Pina Colada song? Oh, and I have a follow-up.
Not too often does a host segment make me think critically about a song from the 70s, but leave it to MST3K to manage to do it with a song that I have had questions about ever since I first heard it. And I think the bots are right. Why are they not mad at each other for betraying them? I would be. Crow and Servo are 100% correct in their assumptions based on my understanding of human relationships. Really, that's why I love that host segment, because every point they bring up is something that I've thought of every time that song plays. Plus, it resulted in someone remixing the Pina Colada song with the audio from that host segment, and honestly, it improves the song immensely. I'll link to that in the cards, though I really would like to see their deconstruction of Timothy from the angle that Timothy is a duck.
Ham radio?
Mistook it for an actual ham.
There. The Satellite of Love is completely unsafe. Hey, does anything work at all?
Yeah, the toaster oven. We used it to bake the ham radio.
Oh,
I know this is probably not on anyone else's list, but I love this host segment. Just the cadence of Crow and Tom's dialogue matching with Mike's, and the nonchalance of the responses of the bots with Mike's seeming genuine interest in the safety of their vessel. Just the back and forth of their responses make this my favorite. It's a lesser known one, and one from the sci-fi era which had less hits, since a good chunk of their early host segments were storyline related, but it's one that whenever I feel down, I go watch it and it immediately raises my spirits. I mean, like I said before, sometimes it's the simple things, and this one is another like that. It is my favorite host segment ever, and I hate that no one's uploaded it to YouTube separately, so I always have to go searching for Squirm to watch it, and that's the one with a case of spring fever, so I always end up watching the episode. So while it's not one of the best movies to sit through, the episode has a lot to offer, and starting off with that strong a host segment makes an otherwise unremarkable episode, aside from the short, into one of my favorites. Anyway, those were my top 15 Mystery Science Theater 3000 host segments. Did you agree with my list? Are any of these also your favorites? Are there any that I left out? Because I'm sure there are a lot that I left out. Again, I want to stress that these are my personal favorites of the show's long and storied history, and with like 5 segments an episode, there are a lot of them. If there are ones that you were super shocked to see didn't make the list, chances are that those crossed over with my list of favorite MST3K episodes, and so I didn't want to retread the same idea when I eventually do that list. Anyway, that's all the time we have for today, and if you'd like to see more of the Literary Lair, you can hit that subscribe button. And if you have any comments or complaints about the video, you can put those in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, show it to your friends and share it around the internet. And maybe consider supporting the show on Patreon. And, based on my calculations, the new episodes should be on Netflix right about now. Now we've really got movie sign. See you next time. Hello and welcome to the Satellite of Love. I'm Mike Josephson, and these are my robot pals, Cambot and Gyro. We're still setting up here, so, Cambot, roll the theme song.